So since I'm in a bit of a rhythm, and the last one turned out to be pretty easy to record and publish, I'm going to do another one while I'm in flow, because I've been updating the YouTube channel. It's not a great deal in there, as you can see, but I do need to change the profile picture, and I thought I'd just do another video with DALL-E 2 in this case to come up with an image. And I've been playing with DALL-E a bit, and kind of it's definitely not as good as Midjourney. Midjourney have in the last week actually cut off the free access to for the trial. So there's no trial going for Midjourney. So I did manage to produce some pretty good images in that. And I really liked it, and the complexity around the ethics of it it is problematic, and I am planning to talk about that in some of the future videos, but just purely from the perspective of seeing this kind of technology as a creative tool. And I know it's probably not possible to separate that from the kind of ethical dimension, but it is here, and we're going to look at it. It does produce some good stuff. Midjourney is better than, in my opinion, than DALL-E, and I can show you. We'll talk some more specifically about that again later. But yeah, we're just gonna come up with a logo for the YouTube channel, and the most obvious thing, of course, is something AI related. I don't think I want a logo as such. I want an image, and I think the image is got to be a scary looking AI, like red. I mean, you would have seen these images before. There's been loads of them of like a kind of a red eye that's kind of flashing, or whatever, in some dark computer box somewhere, or whatever it is. This one, I think, is just going to be a red kind of intelligent looking robot eye. So let's start with that. A red, I'm going to say intelligent looking robot eye staring from the darkness. I'm going to add in a comical way, just to see what comes up. The technology's capacity to deal with kind of opposites is quite interesting. If you present it alternative, if you create a description of something but include alternative things in there, you get some kind of quite curious results. So a red, maybe I should say a red scary. So it's going to be scary and comical, hopefully. A red, scary, intelligent looking robot eye staring from the darkness in a comical way. No. I'm anticipating what it might come up with. Well, I quite like to see it, so let's just do it in any way. I don't want it to be comic, that's the thing, so I'm going to specify specifically. I know there's a lot of prompts that people use that are out there already on the internet. I'm sure they're really helpful, and I suspect we're going to see a huge range of people providing prompts which help you with this stuff. And as we go along, I'm no doubt we'll see them. But at the moment, I'm just talking to it very much in a natural language way, and I think, I've just found that quite a useful way. I want to be able to talk to it, not in some kind of a code, but in the most natural way possible. So, and sometimes, you don't even make sense in the sentence. This is not going to be a very well constructed sentence, for instance. but it does have a remarkable ability to kind of piece together from whatever you write, specifically in photorealistic style. And with a blue neon. Let's do it this way. A red, scary, intelligent looking eye staring from the darkness out of a neon blue. Neon blue box in a comical way, specifically in photorealistic style. And I'm just going to say to be used as a what do you call them? An avatar? No, as a image. I should say an image for a YouTube channel about AI. Okay, so before I hit generate, I'm going to mention a couple of things. I'm still using the trial version. I'm not using it enough at the moment to kind of warrant going above that, but for both ChatGPT and DALL-E and possibly Midjourney, I'm very tempted to get a subscription. I just need to get the money really. Anyway, I'm going to generate. You can see all my different images here, and as you can see, none of them really jumps out at you from the thumbnail form. Oh look! So this is why having a subscription would be good. I'm going to retry. That's better. Everyone's using these technologies at the moment, aren't they? Well, we might have to come back to this. I'm going to pause. No, I'm not. I'm going to stop the video, and we'll treat this as an object lesson in why it might be useful to get a subscription. One more go. Oh, it's doing something. No, it's not. Okay, you can probably shut off now, but in case you're interested in how the rest of my conversation with ChatGPT went about to come up with the quote for the Dreaming Trees story, I'm going to go back up to where we left it off, which was, I mean, it was an interesting process. So we'd invented Galen Wolfe, and then I decided I wanted to try and get it to see things from his perspective. So I kind of went straight out of, I kind of almost started again. So I gave it some details about Galen, from a chapter called Dreaming Trees. The chapter records a dream by Galen in which he imagines himself a tree and experiences a profound sense of connection with the world. Write a series of 5 possible quotes from Galen's point of view in the following style. So what I was interested in, I didn't really know what kind of a tone I was after. So I asked ChatGPT to suggest a tone. And it did it. I mean, I'm not going to read it out. I'll leave it on screen there for a moment, or you can pause. Maybe that'd be better. And the one I liked the most was excited. So that was the one I ended up using, and I did kind of want to modify it a little bit, but at the same time I didn't want to spend the time on it. I was too interested in seeing how easy this video process would be. Anyway, you can see me talking to it there. Then I asked it to use the last one in the third person and add the attribution and book name. So then it came up with this version, but I still wasn't totally happy. I shortened the quote and I wanted it to sound a bit more esoteric. Then it was too short. So I asked it for another option. I mean, they're quite good. I mean, it's interesting. It's the sort of thing I can imagine this kind of character having written. This is the one I'd already created in my imagination from the prompts. Okay, so then I went back to the one that we'd started from. One thing that's useful is to kind of be very clear about versioning when you're writing something. And I'm going to practice that as I'm going along, but you'll see what's going on. There's a little bit I use this. Capture the entire sense of the basis, but rewrite without using the word fractal and more akin to a religious text. So we can see it's getting closer to what I actually finally published. And then I specifically asked it to write this passage, and you'll see what I'm doing is I'm getting it to rewrite with specific additional information, but right from the perception of the tree and the kinds of concerns a tree might have. So that's a very abstract thing to ask. What kind of concerns does the tree might have? I was half expecting it to say, I can't kind of see things from the perspective of a tree, but apparently I can. So then it kept going. We had various versions, and then I called that one Candidate 1. And I requoted it back to it. This is just for clarity. In longer conversations, what I'm finding is it can get confused. I mean, you can get confused, but the best way to avoid that confusion is to be very clear in the process of arguing or the process of discussion what you're referring to at what point. In order to do that, the best way is to specify things, to define things. So I asked it for more poetic language. That was quite specific. I've asked it for more poetic language in the past, and it's actually given me a poem, which isn't what I wanted really. Okay, and then I stopped, essentially. And I did, Candidate 2 was okay, but again, it was a bit long. So in the end, I went with Candidate 1, I think. Anyway, so there you have it, a little bit more about that process. And yeah, enjoy.